And welcome to another edition of Ducks No Sports. This week, it's my third installment of my 7-week preview for my MLB preview. Should be good, as today I tackle the American League West. Should be interesting with a new team joining the fray in the Houston Astros coming over from the National League. So it should be interesting, but we'll start off with last year's champions. The Oakland A's, of course, last year got hot at the right time after the All-Star break. Really played good ball, playing above 700 ball. Really played well. Biggest question for them, can they catch lightning and ball twice? Because last year was a magical season for the Oakland A's, of course, going to the playoffs and losing in the playoffs. But the Oakland A's really impressed me last year. They really got hot at the right time. Was it real? Who knows? The Oakland A's, can they do it again this year? Maybe. You know, they have a lot of good young prospects on their roster and a lot of good pitching on the team. So can they do it again? They probably can do it again, but I just don't think they can do it again in this division this year with, you know, the Angels getting a little better, Seattle getting a little better, you know, Texas probably will be good again. And I just think Oakland's in for a rough year, and good for them on having a good season last year, catching lightning in a bottle, but I think that's just what it was, lightning in a bottle. Don't think it was real. I think the Oakland A's are in for a rough year in 2013. We're moving on to our next team, which will be the Texas Rangers. Of course, our biggest question going into the year has to be, can they rebound after a rough offseason? Of course, rough offseason has to start with the departure of their best player, in my opinion, Josh Hamilton, of course, going over to the rival Angels. Should be an interesting one how they rebound, because a couple years ago, the Rangers were the it team. They were the best team in baseball with Josh Hamilton. And, of course, going World Series. And, of course, loses 2 World Series, of course, to the Giants and then to the Cardinals back-to-back years. And this team, I think, will struggle this year to get out of the box, because I think it's very important for this team to get out hot start, because they'll have to replace a guy like Josh Hamilton, which I don't know. I don't see anybody on the roster that really can replace a Josh Hamilton, because he brings so much to the field to play. I mean, great bat, you know, an underrated glove, very good in the field, and I just think they'll be missed in Texas here. I think Texas will still be a decent team. I still think I still got the pitching staff. They have a great pitching staff, a great bullpen, but I think hitting is going to be the problem this year. I don't think the runs will come in as rapidly as they've been coming the last couple of years. And I just think Josh Hamilton is a big blow to the team. I know it's just one player, but a guy who can hit for power, get home runs, get on base, that's really going to be hard to replace. And there's nobody on the Texas roster I see right now that can actually replace him. So that's why I think Texas, they'll still be a strong team. I think they'll be around the playoffs, but I just don't think it's in the cards for them to win the AL West this season. And, of course, our next team, probably the most improved team in this division, the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. And, of course, when you had a stout, already a stout lineup with guys like Mike Trout that came on last year, red hot, Albert Pujols, and you add Josh Hamilton, we just talked about, this lineup will probably be unstoppable. Of course, and on the pitching side, you already got one of the best pitching rotations in Major League Baseball. To go along with this hitting, I think Josh Hamilton will bring a lot to this team. You know, last year at times the Angels just couldn't score runs, and that's probably what did them in last year, and that's why they didn't make the playoffs, in my opinion. It's because they just couldn't get it done in the clutch, couldn't score those key runs. And I don't think that'll be a problem this year, as I think with Mike Trout, I think we'll only get better. You know, Mike Trout in a couple of years might be one of the best players in baseball. That's how exposed. I've never seen a rookie just come in baseball and just take the league over. That's what he did last year, and hands down the rookie of the year. Pujols, you know, going from National League to American League, really struggled out the gate last year, but the second half really improved, and I think that will go over 2013. I think he will have a bounce back season and be one of the best players in baseball. And of course, Josh Hamilton. Big Josh Hamilton fan. I think this was a huge signing. Josh Hamilton got the money he wanted from a rival. And will be interesting, because I think this team really has the makings of a World Series type team. I mean, you look at from top to bottom, they have every piece you want. And I really think they are probably one of the best, if not the best team in the American League going right now. And for 2013, I love the Angels, and I really think the Angels will have a big, big year in 2013. Our next team, the Seattle Mariners, who made an interesting signing, making Felix Hernandez their ace, the highest pitcher in baseball. And should be an interesting move because I really like Felix Hernandez. I really think he is one of the better pitchers in baseball. But to make him the highest paid pitcher in baseball, I don't know about that. For a guy who's never really been to the playoffs or really been around the playoffs, I thought it was an interesting move. But I think I had to do something because this team, for years, Seattle Mariners are just, the team, they're the team that everybody just walks over. As, they bring up these hot prospects, they're good, and then when they're free agents, they're gone. So I think it was very important for Seattle not to lose another one of their key players, and big for them to sign Hernandez to this big deal. But the rest of the team, I think, maybe they should use some of the money spread out, sign some other players, because really there's nothing really here. I mean, signing Jason Bay in the offseason, who I like Jason Bay, but Jason Bay isn't the player that he used to be. And I just think, maybe this thing needs to be stripped down and start over from scratch because, they got hot near mid-season last year but then fell off. And that's just how it's been the last couple of years for the Seattle Mariners. And I just think it's going to be a tough couple years for Seattle. They got the pitcher, but nothing really much, nothing in the field, nothing really excites you. But this team, just a team with a bunch of, with a bunch of kids and a bunch of past their prime veteran players, and not much to say here. And I think the Seattle Mariners are in for another rough 2013. And our next team, the newest team to the AL West, of course, in the offseason, a alignment change was made as the Houston Astros come over from the National League Central to the American League West. So this one should be interesting. The biggest question, how will they adapt going from a National League to American League? Big change in my opinion. They have the DH rule now. Other rules will have to adapt, and playing more opponents more, playing teams like the Yankees more, the Tigers more, the Angels more, playing a lot of Blue Jays more, a lot of good teams playing a lot more. And let's be honest, the Houston Astros have not been a good team the last couple years. We talked about this with Seattle, but I just think Houston, this needs to be stripped down, start over from scratch. Because there's nothing on this roster that really gets me excited. There's nobody on this roster I look to and go like, all right, there's something there. I just think they need to rebuild and maybe just get rid of a lot of these players that probably do not want to be here because it's such a bad team for years. And the Houston Astros they're in an uphill battle right now, let's face facts. Switching leagues, they'll have to adapt more to the American leagues, playing tougher opponents, playing more opponents that can hit the ball a lot better, because that's what American League is. It's more of a hitting league than the National League is more of a pitching league. So they'll have to adapt to a lot of better hitters in this league. And I think Houston Astros, nothing really there. Switching leagues, it's going to be a rough 2013 for the Houston Astros. But with all said and done, who is your 2013 American League West champions? I think it's one team and one team only can win this. That is the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. But nobody thought the A's could win the West last year, and they did that. But I think the Angels are just more determined this year, rebuilt, better all around this year. And I think the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim are your 2013 American League West champions. Well, stay tuned for our next preview as I will dive into the National League. Of course, I'll start with the National League East. Should be an interesting one. A lot of teams I think will have bounce back years. Teams like the Phillies and teams like I think the Mets are be going the opposite direction. So stay tuned for that. But till next time, I'm Eric Dr. Spang. I'm Ducks, and I know sports. Kind of.